So today, I'm going to explain a movie that's truly heartwarming. A story about a man considered a complete loser who is so fed up with his life that he's ready to end it. But then, something unexpected happens that completely transforms his life. The movie is called Hello Ghost, and it's a comedy drama. The story begins with a man named Sang, sitting alone in a hotel room. Sang has been an orphan since childhood and has lived his entire life in loneliness. Now, he's tired of everything. Desperate to end this empty, depressing existence, he decides to commit suicide by swallowing a handful of sleeping pills. Just as he's about to do it, the hotel manager calls, asking him to pay his pending bills. Sang, who believes he's about to die anyway, ignores the call and goes ahead with the pills. But fate intervenes. The manager shows up just in time and saves his life. Yet Sang doesn't give up. A few days later, he jumps into the water to try ending his life again. But once again, his luck betrays him. Some lifeguards on duty rescue him, and he wakes up hours later in a hospital bed. When Sang opens his eyes, he sees a man sitting beside him smoking a cigarette. Irritated, he tells the man that smoking is prohibited in hospitals. But to his surprise, a nurse comes in and snatches the cigarette from Sang's own hand. Confused, Sang insists he wasn't smoking. Soon, two attendants wheel him out on a stretcher, and to his shock, the smoking man is still with him, sitting casually on the same stretcher. The doctor informs Sang that his heart had stopped for a few seconds when he fell into the water, meaning he had technically died and come back to life. Sang then asks the doctor about the man he saw, but the doctor and his staff claim they saw no one. It's at this point Sang starts to wonder if there's something wrong with his mind. Things escalate when he hears a girl sobbing nearby. When he opens a cupboard to check, he finds a young woman inside, crying uncontrollably. But once again, no one else can hear or see her. This further convinces the doctor that Sang might be suffering from a mental illness. That night, an old man appears in front of Sang. Again, someone only he can see. It finally clicks in Sang's mind. These are ghosts. What he can't understand is why only he can see them. The next morning, yet another spirit appears. A young boy. None of the hospital staff see him either. Sang now connects the dots. Since he technically died for a few seconds, he must have acquired the ability to see spirits. Hoping for answers, he visits a Japanese shaman. The shaman listens carefully and tells Sang that these spirits may have always been around him, but it's only now, after brushing so closely with death, that he's become spiritually sensitive enough to see them. The shaman explains that these spirits have unfulfilled desires and will now use Sang's body to complete their wishes. Until they succeed, they won't let him die, even if he tries. When Sang returns home, all four ghosts follow him. One by one, they begin possessing his body to fulfill their long-held desires. Because of the old man, Sang ends up drinking heavily. The smoker turns him into a chain smoker. The little boy's craving for sweets forces Sang to eat tons of chocolates. And due to the crying woman, Sang experiences intense emotional breakdowns, something he never allowed himself before. Living this chaotic, unhealthy lifestyle quickly takes a toll on Sang's health. Furious, he confronts the ghosts and demands that they leave. But that night, the temperature in his apartment drops dramatically, making it impossible for him to sleep. The next day, he rushes back to the shaman, who explains that when a spirit is extremely angry, it can bring a chilling cold to the place it inhabits. Sang had scolded the ghosts, which must have triggered their rage. Sang, desperate now, asks if there's any way to make them leave. The shaman says there surely must be something, and the rest of the story continues from here. The shaman tells Sang that the only way to get rid of these ghosts is to fulfill their final wishes. Once their desires are granted, they'll peacefully leave him. Sang returns home and discusses this with the four ghosts, who agree. Once their wishes are fulfilled, they'll disappear. First up is the old man's ghost, who says he wants a specific camera. Sang takes him to the market and shows him several models, but none of them satisfy the ghost. Frustrated, Sang asks where exactly this camera can be found. The ghost tells him it's not sold in any store. It's in the possession of a certain man. Annoyed, Sang asks why he didn't say this earlier, to which the ghost responds, "You never asked." He explains that ghosts can't volunteer information. They can only answer direct questions. When Sang finally asks the right one, the ghost says the camera is with a police officer. Sang lets the ghost possess him, and they confront the officer to ask for the camera. But the officer, having never seen Sang before, ignores him completely. Determined, Sang follows the officer and unintentionally disrupts a police operation, allowing a criminal to escape. Furious, the officer throws Sang into a holding cell. However, the old ghost knows a secret, that the officer is having an extramarital affair. When the officer's wife visits the station with food, the ghost inside Sang's body casually brings up the affair. Terrified that his secret is out, the officer begs him to stay quiet. Sang agrees, in exchange for the camera, which he knows is in the second drawer. The officer has no choice but to comply. Sang then takes the camera to the hospital to return it to its rightful owner. a man who was once the old ghost's closest friend. This touching gesture brings closure to the ghost. At the hospital, Sang notices a nurse named Yoon and instantly falls for her. The ghost, realizing this, takes control of Sang's body and confidently flirts with her, knowing full well that Sang, a complete introvert, could never do this on his own. Back home, Sang asks the little boy ghost what his wish is. The child simply wants to watch a cartoon movie at a theater. Sang takes him there, and by coincidence runs into Nurse Yoon again, who's also there with a young boy. She notices Sang enjoying the cartoon like a kid and finds it endearing. After the movie, they go for lunch. Because of the little ghost's influence, Sang eats a ridiculous amount of food, impressing the boy with Yoon. Later, we find out that the child with Yoon is actually a patient at the hospital. He praises Sang in front of her, saying he wants to meet him again. We also learn that Yoon's father is hospitalized in critical condition. Next up is the smoker ghost, who wants to drive a taxi. Sang takes him to an auto garage, but the garage owner mistakenly thinks Sang is having an affair with his wife and chases him down in a car. After a wild pursuit, Sang tells the man he has a special power that can help identify the wife's alleged lover. With the smoker ghost's help, Sang cools down the man's car and promises to help in exchange for a vehicle. The man agrees. The next day, Sang follows the wife and ends up, coincidentally, at the same hospital again. There, he learns that the woman is actually pregnant and has no lover. She's just been staying away because of her husband's smoking and drinking habits. Sang helps clear up the misunderstanding, and the man, grateful, gives Sang a car. Driving this car fulfills the smoker ghost's wish, because it was his car before he died. Later, they head to the beach, and Sang admits it's his first time ever seeing the ocean. He realizes how obsessed he had been with dying and how he never truly lived. The ghost says he wants to go swimming. Sang hesitates, saying he doesn't know how to swim, but the ghost takes control of his body and jumps into the water. As he swims, Sang feels something awaken inside, a realization of how much joy and experience he'd been missing out on. In the next scene, Sang is seen at a store buying a bunch of cartoon DVDs. While driving back, he lights a cigarette. Sang was never a smoker, nor did he know how to drive a car. But all of this was happening because the smoker ghost had taken over his body. While driving, a traffic officer stops Sang's car and asks for his license. Since he doesn't have one, the officer takes him to the police station. There, when the officers see Sang talking to himself, actually speaking with the ghost, they assume he's mentally unstable. One of the officers tells him to call a family member. Sang explains that he's been an orphan since childhood and has no one, but then he remembers he has Yoon's number and calls her. When Yoon arrives at the police station, she sees Sang talking to himself, trying to express how lonely his life has been and how hard it is to grow up without parents. Feeling his pain, she helps get him released and drives him away. Before she leaves, Sang gives her all the cartoon DVDs he had bought just for her. As her bus is about to leave, Sang chases after it, gets on, and for the first time in his life, openly confesses his feelings to a girl. Later, Sang asks the lady ghost what her wish is. She softly replies that she wants to cook a meal and serve it to the people she loves. Curious, Sang asks who those people are, but she begins to cry. After a moment, she says that if Sang doesn't mind, she'd like to invite one person for dinner. Sang, eager to fulfill her wish so the spirits can leave, agrees and follows her to invite this mystery person. Soon, Sang realizes the person is none other than Yoon. The ghost clearly knows that Sang has feelings for her. Sang goes to talk to Yoon, but during their conversation, her father unexpectedly shows up and asks Sang if he's her boyfriend. He tells Sang that a fortune teller once told him his daughter would soon meet the man she'd marry. But Yoon interrupts angrily, yelling at her father and asking him to leave. Sang gently tells her that she shouldn't speak to her father like that. But Yoon, still filled with resentment, says that her father never fulfilled his duties as a parent and that her mother longed for his love until her last breath. It's revealed that Yoon's father is terminally ill and doesn't have much time left. A few hours later, Sang hears his doorbell ring. When he opens the door, he finds Yoon's father standing there. The old man hands Sang a message and asks him to deliver it to Yoon. The scene cuts. The next day, Sang goes to Yoon's house but learns that her father has passed away. At the funeral, Sang tells Yoon, "You might not believe me, but I can see the dead. After he died, your father came to me and asked me to tell you how sorry he was." But Yoon, still hurt and bitter, walks away without listening. Later that evening, Sang goes to the market with the lady ghost to shop for ingredients for the dinner she wants to cook. Together, they prepare for the night. One final dinner that means more than words can express. The lady ghost then uses Sang's body to cook a delicious meal. Sang doesn't really expect Yoon to show up for dinner, but to his surprise, she does. They all sit down to eat together. Of course, Yoon can't see the ghosts, but for the first time, Sang truly feels like he's sitting with a real family. Yoon genuinely loves the food, and hearing her praise makes the lady ghost quietly smile with joy. Then Yoon asks Sang, "Is it really true that you can see dead people?" Sang simply nods and says yes. He tells her that her father left a gift for her on the hospital rooftop before he passed away. Yoon then hesitantly tells Sang that she does like him, but the idea that he sees ghosts scares her. She asks him, "Is there a ghost here right now?" And Sang says, "Yes." Yoon then says something that cuts deep. "You always act so differently. Sometimes you behave like a child, sometimes like an old man. But who are you really? What's your real personality? Because I'm not even sure who I've fallen for." Sang stays silent, because deep down he knows the truth. He's just a loser. Seeing him unable to respond, Yoon walks away. After she leaves, Sang angrily confronts the four ghosts. "For the first time in my life, I found someone I truly cared about," he says. "But now it feels like I'm going to lose her, and it's all because of you." He tells them that since he's fulfilled all their wishes, they should leave his life by the next morning. The following day, Sang wakes up and finds that all four ghosts are gone. But as the day goes on, a strange emptiness settles over him. Life has become dull again. He slowly realizes that the only time he truly lived was when they were around. They taught him how to enjoy life. Without them, he feels lost once more. Later, Sang visits Yoon at the hospital. Yoon, still mourning her father, has come to understand that she's now completely alone. They share lunch together, and Sang tells her that the ghosts have moved on. But thanks to them, he no longer wants to die. He's finally learned how to live. He's healed, he's normal again, and now he wants to marry her. Yoon responds, "During that dinner, I noticed something. Instead of using spinach, you used minari leaves." Sang smiles and says, "Because my mom used to say minari is good for the blood." But as soon as he says that, he freezes. A flood of memories comes rushing back, and he suddenly realizes the truth. The lady ghost was actually his mother. He remembers how, as a child, he used to hold his mother's hand during shopping, just like the lady ghost had taken him shopping that day. His eyes fill with tears. Overwhelmed, he runs home. As memories begin to return, Sang realizes the little boy ghost was actually his older brother, who used to protect him from bullies. The smoker ghost was his father, and the old man was his grandfather. Years ago, his father had bought a brand new taxi, and the whole family was excited to go on a picnic. His grandfather had even borrowed a friend's camera to take photos. But on the way, tragedy struck. Their car crashed into a ravine. Sang was the only one who survived. Since then, he had lived in an orphanage, having blocked out the traumatic memory. That's why he never recognized that the four ghosts were his own family. Sang rushes home in tears. There, he finds all four ghosts waiting for him. They gently tell him that they've always been by his side, even if he never knew it. They admit it broke their hearts to watch him live without love, without hope, wanting to end his own life. But now, they're proud, because he finally knows how to live. In the final scene of the film, we see Sang marrying Yoon. He's no longer alone. He's surrounded by love, both in this world and beyond. Sang is finally happy, living the life he almost never had. And that brings us to the end of this heartwarming and emotional journey. A story that started with a man who had nothing to live for, but ended with him discovering the true meaning of love, family, and life itself. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more such powerful movie recaps. I'll be back soon with another unforgettable tale. Until then, take care of yourself, and remember, sometimes even the most broken lives can be made whole again. Goodbye, tada, sayonara.